One day, in the beginning of February of 2nd grade, my best friend Caitlin strode into the cafeteria and triumphantly held up a copy of Junie B. Jones and the Stupid Smelly Bus. All heads turned to face Caitlin as she yelled, "I did it! I read all the Junie B. Jones books!" Then she walked over and set her book down on the table where I was sitting. She had this smug look on her face that made me start to go crazy. I'm an ultra-competitive person, so when someone beats me in anything, I can't handle it. I hated the fact that Caitlin looked smarter than me, and I had to find a way to beat her. So naturally, that very day, I went home and collected all the Junie B. Jones books that were in my house. My mom wondered what I was up to, so she asked me, "Erin, why is there a stack of Junie B. Jones books on your bed?" I told her the entire story about Caitlin. My mom laughed and tried telling me I should only read the books if I wanted to read them, but I wasn't listening. I was set on beating Caitlin and finishing those books. Throughout the entire school year, I cruised through the series. I ate, lived, and breathed Junie B. Jones. I carried those books everywhere I went. What surprised me the most was how much I loved reading this series. I had always thought I hated reading because I was a more outdoorsy kid, but Junie B. Jones allowed me to have fun while reading. Her humor and bad luck helped me become attached to her, much like I do with most of the characters of the books I read now. Then, one day, in the beginning of May, I closed my copy of Junie B. Jones as a graduation girl. I had read the books out of order, and this was the final one on my quest to read all the Junie B. Jones books as quickly as possible. I remember feeling distinctly sad as I sat there, having finished what had consumed my life for the past 3 months. I couldn't help but think, what next? How do I move on from Junie B. Jones? I went downstairs to my mom, crying to her about how much I loved the series and didn't want it to end. She hugged me and told me that it was okay to be sad. After I got over this, I was extremely excited to go to school the next day to tell Caitlin that I had read the books, and since I read them faster, that I must be smarter. However, the next day when I told Caitlin that I had finished the entire series, she told me something that I never would have guessed in my wildest dreams. I lied were the first words that came out of her mouth. She went on to explain that she had just said she read all those books to seem smart. This, of course, made me feel even better. Where you would expect me to be angry that I wasted my time completing this task, I found even more pride in my accomplishment. Now I had done something that nobody else in my entire grade had done. Clearly, I was the smartest 2nd grader. However, now that I was done with the books, I didn't have anything to do in my free time. I became incredibly bored and constantly complained to my mom about having nothing to do. One day, she brought me downstairs to our toy room and held up a Magic Treehouse book called Dolphins at Daybreak. My mom told me that I could start a brand new series if I liked reading that much. At first, I rejected the idea, but after not coming up with any other solution to fix my boredom, I picked the book up and got lost in it. This book was new, exciting, and adventurous, a young girl's dream. I read that book cover to cover one Saturday morning to resolve my boredom, but I never knew that I would get absolutely hooked on reading.